building a bridge, and the bridge isn't even, like one side is higher than the other. So he's like, oh, I'm gonna fix this. So he goes to get some more Legos to fix it, and when he comes back, what his son has actually done, instead of adding to the bridge, he's taken things out to make it even. And he's like, oh, that's actually a better solution. He realized as a professional engineer, he wasn't wired to get the simpler solution, he was wired to make it more complicated. He's like, I wonder how typical this approach is. So he went to his engineering firm, brought all the Legos, set up the same thing, and he goes, 100% of the people try to fix it by adding to it, right? So one of the things that I encourage everybody is, how can we make it simpler, 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 simpler? And I have been talking to people a lot about the 30 Days to Pro because I want to make it simple, right? And we did some extra training in Copenhagen on Sunday, right? And so first thing I was like, oh, what about the 30 Days to Pro website? Have people seen the link? Everyone goes, yeah. I go, who's actually gone to it? People were like, I go, okay.
It was like maybe 1/4 or 1/5 of the room or less had actually visited the site.
So you seem, I'm just going to share the link. You're going to do it. It's like, no. It's like if you want to do what they just talked about and get 250 pros, we have to go back to this and get simpler, right? So one thing we had to do in the room, we was like, okay, stop everything. Everybody get out your phone, go to 30 Days to Pro. Could everyone effortlessly do that? No. Interesting enough. Like you realize some people, because we're talking about bringing it down to the lowest common denominator, some people will make the mistake of on
the search bar.
They'll go in the search bar on Google and they'll type in 30 Days to Pro and they won't find it, instead of going up to the address bar and typing that in. Does that make sense? It's like, do you have to go that simple? Sometimes yes, right? There's instructions on there on, hey, how about send a picture, right? You understand a lot of people, they're like, they struggle with it, especially you made a great comment on, hey, we don't have all young easy tech people in our company. We have a lot of people who aren't that good at technology, right? So that's one of the first things I would say is if we're gonna make it simple, the degree to which we have to make sure that people are getting that. And last night I was just thinking about different things on like how can we really get things going? Like what can we ask people to do that's inside their comfort zone that they could do today? That makes sense? And so one thing I thought about is like, what if someone was brand new and I said, hey, here's what I want you to do. Here's how to download pictures onto your phone. Here's the specific script that I would like you to use. And how about you, in the next week or so, could you text that to 100 people, right? A picture, it grabs people's attention, right? By text. We were talking last night about how people look at text, but they ignore everything else, emails, everything. It's like, what if we could send, have each new person something in their comfort zone, get it out to enough people, right? That all of a sudden they start having some success come back, right? So just some ideas on the lowest, we call it the lowest common denominator.
Yeah, I think Shane really hit the nail on the head talking about focus. I think that we're all very aware of just the fact that you're in a new market and there's new challenges. And I think we can have a tendency to get distracted and say, well, once that problem is solved, then I can build, then I can do something. But we just want to challenge you to really think about, what do you have in your hands, right? I wish I need a permanent bottle in my pocket, because I would be holding a bottle in my hands right now. What we have in our hands is we have the product.
There you go.
My wish is your command now. That's not how that goes. Right? So we have the product, right? We're able to get the product. I mean, Jenny can't even get the product, but she's still overcoming that challenge, right? So, daily. But she understands what is it called when you have an assignment? whatever. She understands what the assignment is.
Assignment.
It's not that either of those words, but it's
007.
yeah. She's like, it doesn't matter. Like, we're gonna get the product, but my focus is I gotta get this in people's hands, right? So that's the focus right now, and we have to remember. So what we have is testimonies through the group. The testimonies get people's attention. It sparks hope. Okay, right? So we already have this. We have the product. We have the testimonies. Okay. We also have the science. So that is confidence, right? Right? It gives you the confidence to believe in it. And then the other thing is we have the 30 days to pro. We've created to keep it simple so that your team knows what to do. Okay? So if people know what to do, then they will do it. If there's a track to follow, people will follow it. And so then we can actually have our teams be focused. And that's where the magic is going to be happening. So when you talk about what you want to create, it is not about focusing on, we are going to be solving problems. It is part of what we do. But if our focus is on solving problems, we're not building something. Right? As distributors, our focus needs to be on sharing what we currently have in our hands, right? And something else that I was really thinking about on the flight over here. If we have our focus and gratitude on what we have, the other thing we focus on is, okay, we also have each other, right? And so that is a huge thing because together we can start to impact this huge population of Europe. Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking last night, if we could have a person, people in every single country have access to this product and this opportunity, that's part of what we have in our hands right now, okay? So the countries that we are currently open in are untapped, but together we can reach them because we also have this in our hands, right? We have each other.
Yeah. Sure.
So,
Hold that.
part of, I want to talk briefly about, so how are you going to get from here to Global Founder in September? One of the very important things is it's not by talking to people who need the product about getting on product, and that may sound weird. Right now, it's like looking for people who want to build a business.
You can see the vision that this product represents.
Right? And inviting them into partnership with you, right? And if that's done properly, it's a very honoring conversation. So I wanna talk really quickly about a concept I learned from a guy named Robert Fritz. He was a professor at Boston Conservatory. He worked with artists and musicians, and he saw that people who were good at creating works of art, they weren't consciously competent in how they did it, so they couldn't take the creative process of how they create a beautiful painting and create a business or good relationship. But he got real clarity on what it looks like, and now he makes $50,000 a day by turning around multi-billion-dollar companies. Does that make sense? So huge insurance company in California would hire him because they were at $5 billion, now they were at $2 billion, and it was just a toxic environment. And he went in there and helped them turn them back to $7 billion, right? So this very simple concept is something you use in your own life, but then you also spread it throughout your team. You follow me? And so the first thing is you have to have structural tension. You have to have tension between two things. So the first thing is you have to get clarity on what you want to create, and it has to be something you can put your life's passion into, right? You can't pour your life's passion into a compromise. So if we talk about, okay, what's our vision? Part of our vision is to be a beacon of hope in uncertain physical and financial times, right? Because there's a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world. If you ask for me specifically, I would say, okay, well, honestly, one of my goals is to make at least $84,385.33 in a month. Why? Now, you may go, well, why that number? Because it's a specific number, like it's a more real number, and that also represents over $1 million a year. Like, why do I want to do that? I'm not into spending a lot of money on fancy things, but what it does represent is I know that level of income also represents a huge impact for people, right? And I want to, for my own kids, I want to model for them having big dreams and doing big things and demonstrating for that for them. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So first you have to have real clarity on what you really want to create, like something that you're like, I don't want to, I must do this, okay? So to have clarity on that, but at the same time, it's very important that you don't attach your ego and your value to it. The reason for that is because the other thing that holds it together is to have an honest and accurate conversation about current reality and is what you're doing working, right? If I attach my ego to something, I can't handle someone telling me, yeah, it's not working, because I can't. I'll take it as shame, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this also represents if you're wanting to build a large organization and its leadership. This is of all the people we talk to, and you find someone who goes, yeah, I want to do that. I want to build a big team. It's like, okay, great. Why do you want to do that?
I don't know.
Like,
I don't want to make money.
Do you want? Why do you need to make some more money?
Because I have to work 2 jobs.
Okay, well, what would be the benefit if you just did this and made more money?
I never get to see my family.
Okay, so you want to build this business so you can see your family. Yeah, why is that important?
Because my kids are growing up and I'm never home.
So you want to be there while your kids are growing up and not miss this.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is just an example.
So she says she wants to build a business because she wants to be part of her kids in their life as they're growing up. This is super important to her. Great. So we give her some things to do, right? Here, go to this website. Here's how I want you to talk to people. Make a list. Start reaching out to people. Great. Maybe a week or 2 later, I'm like, yeah, it doesn't look like she's making progress, right? Then I can come back. Now I know how to have a conversation with her. I'm like, hey, Samara, you told me that you wanted to build this business and be successful at it so that you could really be part of your kids' life a little bit more as they're growing up. Is that still important to you?
Yeah.
Okay, so
I told 3 people.
Awesome. So let's have a bit of a conversation here. Telling that many people, it's not actually going to get you to your goal.
But they 2 said no.
Right? So we talked about telling this many people, not this many people. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So if you're telling me that this is still an important goal to you, we're going to have to change and take more action, right? Okay. So are we ready? Are we willing to refocus on this?
Yeah.
Now, by the way, if you decide that this is an important goal to you, you don't have to do the business, okay? Just don't do it.
Yeah.
But I just want to say, if you're committed to this thing you told me, then we're going to have to take different action. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Great. So you see how we had a conversation about it. There wasn't any shame in it. I was like, okay, what do you actually want to do? You're committed to it, great. Then this is what's going to take, all right? And I have a conversation that will keep refocusing her on that. Was that helpful?
Yeah.
So.
And if you guys need someone to have that conversation with you, reach out to us, right? Because we're moving into this really special time, this next 6 months, where you've got this opportunity right in front of you.
Yeah. And I want to add a couple things. One, having spent this year would be 30 years in network marketing and having joined a bunch of different companies, right? Companies have great marketing, cool products, all sorts of different things. The thing that always 100% of the time broke it down was that the people who, that you didn't have an owner who's also running the company, who had a long-term vision, right? Who operate their business with integrity. That was all, no matter how fancy everything else looked, it was always came down to that, right? And so when I'm like, okay, VIDAFY is my legacy business, part of the reason is like, okay, we have that part in place. Like owners who are humble and competent, owners who have a vision for doing something as a family, not taking it public, right? Because sometimes we would have people involved in the company. So that
not putting it in the stock market.
Yeah, so often we'd have maybe someone involved in running the company, but they aren't the owner, right? So ultimately, people who were more interested in running the company a different way got to tell them what to do, right? Or maybe you have someone develop an amazing product, but the people running the company had never done network marketing before, right? And they don't understand how to make decisions and run the company. So that was just to be sure, that's a huge thing for us. And the
I'm
other
interject right there. Put you too much on the spot, guys. But what you shared with us earlier, I would love to have a video of that we can just have as a tool to share, because it is incredibly unique. What you guys are doing and what you're about, and I don't know if we've, like you said, you haven't talked about it enough. I don't know if we've really
asked for it.
I don't know if we've tapped into the fact that some people just want to be part of something significant, and I believe this is something significant. It is very rare. It's very unique and very rare.
So because people don't join companies, people join other people. Right.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing to be really clear about is, we certainly had a lot of frustrations with shipping and everything in our last 6 months. But for me, although it was super frustrating, it also gave me more clarity for the future, because the challenges we've gone through in the last 6 months, for most other companies would sink them, right? The fact that we've even had growth through that time period, I was like, when you're trying to build a network marketing company, especially a legacy company, it's kind of a mysterious formula, right? If it was a very clear, simple formula, everyone would do it.
Yeah.
So it's this kind of weird, mystical thing where and for me, the fact that we've grown through the last 6 months, even though we've had that challenges, is like, oh, it looks like we have a bit of the magic ingredient there somewhere. I'm not sure what it is exactly, but if we could survive that and grow in the past 6 months, it's also an indication that whatever else, because all companies have problems, right? So it's an indication to me, like, whatever other problems we will have in the future, because we will, it's just life, right? It gives me confidence that, we'll have the ability to overcome all those things as well, because this other thing should have sunk us. Anyway, so I hope what that does is it gives you more clarity on that you can, you can build a legacy for your family. This Global Founder Program, there are other companies that have done well that have this type of program, where just that one check is life-changing for the family. That one check a year, let alone everything else. And so you guys have the opportunity to do that. So
That's once in a lifetime, literally.
yeah. Anything else you want to add?
Do you guys feel like you have a little bit more clarity on moving forward from this
Yep.
time out and the significance of the next 6 months?
And we're going to work on some languaging for hey, how about you have people send this specific language or this specific text initially when they come in, and we'll work on some of that.